Gentlemen, you are the cream of the world's air forces. This country desperately needs your help. 6 months ago, an extremely well-armed and organized terrorist force carried out a coup d'etat. Attempts to free our country have been foiled by repeated surprise attacks. To avoid escalating this war and causing unacceptable civilian losses, we wish to employ your services. Surgical airstrikes and the elimination of enemy air superiority will tip the scales in our favor. You will receive remuneration commensurate with your positions as the premier top guns of the world. This is an evaluation of your operational abilities. Intelligence reports an enemy supply unit moving to resupply their forward positions. You should have the advantage of surprise. We should have localized air superiority for the duration of the operation. Target, C5A supply unit.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Trophy on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Take off! Don't let him get away! Enemy targets located. On our left! Trophy on our 6. On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bag one! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Wasted! Bingo! Yahoo! Blew him away! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy targets located. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Take off! He's wasted! On our right. Bogey on our tail. Enemy in sight. On our left. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Here! Toast! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let it back run! Mission accomplished.
Immediate mobilization required. Our base's position was compromised in the last enemy push. Reports indicate imminent arrival of bombers. Scramble and ace those bogies. Target, B-52 Bomber Force.
Ready? Break now! Bogey on our six! Bogey on our tail! Enemy inside. Take off! Bogey on our tail! On our left! Bogey on our six! Enemy in sight! Bogey on our six! Enemy blocking. Take off! Bingo! Yahoo! On our right! Bogey on our tail!
Warning!
Locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Bogey on our
Body
six!
damage. Alert! Body
On our
damage.
right!
Alert!
Bogey on our
Body
six!
damage. Alert! Body damage. Alert! Body
Bogey on our
damage.
six!
Warning!
Locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! On our left! On our Bogey on our six! Up ahead! Bogey on our six! Great shot! Take off! Bogey on our tail! On our right! Let's return to mission, buddy! Up ahead! Bingo! Yahoo! Bingo! Up ahead! Enemy on our right! Up ahead! Jesus! Bogey on our six! Great shot!
Alert! Body
Take off!
damage. Alert! Body
On our right!
damage.
Bogey
Alert!
on our
Body
six!
damage. Alert! Body damage. Alert! Body damage.
Up ahead! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy locked on our right! Jesus! Up ahead! Bogey on our six! Enemy locked on target. Fire! On our right! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Bogey on our 6. Mission accomplished.
AWACS reports an enemy incursion in our sector. We are diverting you from local air support to forward operations. Neutralize the approaching units. Target, enemy attacking force. Formation makeup is unknown. Expect enemy fighter support and a tough dogfight. Good luck.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Bogey on our
Body
6.
damage. Alert, body damage.
On our right.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Up
damage.
ahead.
Alert, body damage.
Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down. On our left. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Oh! Enemy in sight. Jesus, miss! On our left. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Great shot! Take off! Fire! Enemy target located. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. On our left. On our left. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Take off. Fire. Shoot it down. Stay with it. Away. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Take off. Enemy in. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Stay with it. Bogey on our 6. Wait. Bogey on our tail. Take off. On our right. On our left, bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. On our left, bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. On our right. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot down. Stay with the back one. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy targets located. On our left. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot down. Bingo. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot him down. Stay with him. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Great shot. Enemy in. Wasted. Mission accomplished.
Up to now, our offensive missions have been constrained by the presence of civilians in Donut City. A recent evacuation of that city permits us to engage hard targets within the city perimeter. Target 1, Computer Communications Center. Target 2, Enemy Headquarters Building. Night conditions should neutralize enemy ground fire. However, the city has at least 3 interceptors available. We have no intelligence on force composition. From now on, you will have a wingman assigned to you. Inform him of the operation before departure.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy located 12 o'clock. Great shot! Bogey on our tail! On our right! Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our left! Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution.
Take off!
Low altitude.
On our left! On our right! Let's return to mission, buddy! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Wait! On our left! Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. On our right. Enemy locked on target. Up ahead. Jesus! On our right. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with him. Jesus! Miss! Locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Bogey on our 6. Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution.
Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our right! Up ahead! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Take off! On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! And a great shot! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. He's wasted! Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. On our right.
Up to now, our offensive missions have been constrained by the presence of civilians in Donetsk.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Focus 12 o'clock. Focus on our tail. Focus on our 6. Focus on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our left. Enemy locked on target. Bingo!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
On our right. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Take off. Altitude too low. Flying. Bogey on our 6. Take off. Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Altitude too low. Climb. Mission accomplished.
Reconnaissance indicates a weak link in their fuel supply infrastructure. A single pipeline transfers all crude oil from their fields to their refinery. Strike both the pipeline and the refinery. Target: oil refinery plant and oil field. Use the pipeline as a reference to the refinery. Locate and destroy.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our right.
Alert, body damage.
Bogey on our
Alert,
6.
body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert,
Enemy
body
in sight.
damage.
Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Low. Fine. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. On our right. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Take off. Back one. Enemy target located. Enemy target located. Enemy target located. Enemy up ahead. On our right. Up ahead. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get Jesus, miss. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Jesus, miss. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. He is toast. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Altitude too low. Flying. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Bingo!
No altitude. Caution.
Too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Altitude too low. Flying. Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Low altitude. Alert, body damage.
Too low. Flying.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target.
Low altitude.
Bingo!
Caution.
Too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target.
Low altitude.
Bingo! Yahoo! sight.
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Caution.
Enemy target located. Enemy located. Well with altitude too low. Flying. Take off. Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
On our left.
Low altitude.
Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Take off. On our right. Up ahead.
Warning.
Locked on us.
Warning.
Approaching. Dive. Dive. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Enemy target
Low
located.
altitude.
On our left. Up ahead.
Warning.
Locked on us.
Caution.
Approaching.
Alert.
Dive.
Body
Dive.
damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body
On our right.
damage. Alert. Body damage.
Up ahead. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Don't let us get away. Back one. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Low altitude. Caution.
Too low. Flying.
Low altitude. Caution. Low altitude.
Too low. Flying. Jesus, miss. Altitude too low. Flying. Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy in sight.
Caution.
I'm losing him. Enemy target located. low, fine! Enemy targets located. I'm losing it. Enemy targets located. Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. On our right. Altitude too low. Fine.
Caution. No altitude. Alert body
Low.
damage.
Fine.
Alert body damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage.
I'm losing him. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. On our right. Altitude too low. Fine. Bogey on our 6. Enemy target located. Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Altitude too low. Fine.
Caution. Low altitude. Caution.
Too low. Fine. Altitude too low. Fine. Enemy in sight. Enemy target located.
Warning.
Too low. Fine. Look on our tail. Mission accomplished.
The enemy has proved to have significant resources. This war of attrition is not to our advantage. We are now targeting key infrastructure sites. Target: resources mining system and production plant. Intelligence reports stealth fighters operating in this theater. Remember, their lack of radar signature makes visual sighting essential.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy on our left. Bingo! Yahoo!
Alert, body
Bogey on our
damage.
6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
On our
damage.
left.
Alert, body damage.
Up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Take off. Enemy locked on target. Great shot. I'm losing him. Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Altitude too low. Flying.
Alert, body damage.
Bogey on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Take off.
Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Bingo! Yahoo! And altitude too low. Flying. Let's return to mission, buddy. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. On our right. Take off. Stall.
Caution.
Pull out of it.
Engine stall.
On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Bingo! Yahoo! On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Take off. Bogey on our 6. Take off. I'm losing him. Enemy target located. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Take off. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on. Enemy target. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on. Slow. Flying.
Caution. No altitude.
Shot.
Alert,
Slow.
body
Flying.
damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Enemy
damage.
target located. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. On our left. Enemy locked on target. Great shot. Up ahead. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with him. Jesus! Bogey on our 6. Take Take off! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Back one! Take off! On our right! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Bingo! Yahoo! Take off! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Take off! Enemy locked on target. Enemy targets located. Altitude too low. Flying! Mission accomplished.
The enemy's ADCRS, Air Defense Command and Radar System, has been identified. We can expect a steep drop in enemy effectiveness if this site is destroyed. The enemy has an effective SAM kill zone around the target. Its one weak point is a narrow ravine leading to the base. This requires precision, map of the Earth flying. Target, enemy radar site. You have no effective countermeasures to this model of SAM. Exit the ravine and you are toast.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Shoot him away! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Shoot him away! Enemy in up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Back one! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight.
The enemy's ADCRS
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Shoot him away! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target.
The enemy's AD...
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Shoot him away! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Wasted! Enemy in. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Back one! Up ahead! Enemy in sight.
The enemy's ADCRS.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Blue him away! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Wasted! Enemy in. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Up
damage.
ahead!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight.
The enemy's
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Toast! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Wasted! Enemy in. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Wasted! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him away! Enemy in. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Wasted! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Mission accomplished.
Regaining Donetsk City is a prime strategic consideration for the enemy. To forestall offensive operations, we will strike their staging area. Target: staging facilities and B-1 bombers. Our goal is to hit them just before their incursion begins.
Ready? Break now! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Blew him away! Enemy in sight. On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Toast! Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Back one on our right! Take off! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Take off! Control! Pull out of it!
Engine stall.
Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on us.
Warning.
Visual approaching. Dive! Dive! Bogey on our tail! Bogey on our tail! Bogey at 12 o'clock! On our right! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. On our left. Up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Flex Racer up ahead. Lock, take off. Bogey on our 6.
Alert, body damage.
Enemy in
Alert,
sight.
body damage. Alert, body
Take off.
damage. Alert, body
Bogey at 12
damage.
o'clock.
Alert, body
Up
damage.
ahead. On our right. Up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Fire. Shoot it down. Take through. Ammo. One. Take off. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive. Dive. Jesus, miss. Take off. Take off. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Take off. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Lock, take off. Bogey on our tail. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our 6. Locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive. Dive.
Caution.
Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Quick shot. Bogey on our 6.
Warning.
Jesus, miss. On our
Warning.
left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Fire. Shoot it down. On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Shoot him away. On our left. Enemy targets located. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Enemy targets located. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Jesus, miss. Fire. Shoot it down. Stay with him. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Bogey on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body
On our
damage.
left.
Alert, body damage.
Up ahead.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Stay with him. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Stay with him. He is toast. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Bogey at 12 o'clock.
Low altitude. Caution.
Too low. Flying.
Low altitude. Caution. Low altitude.
Bogey on our 6. Take off. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. On our left. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Take off. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us.
Warning.
Missile approaching. Dive. Dive.
Warning.
Enemy in sight. Take off! Altitude too low. Fly!
Caution.
Bingo!
Low altitude.
Trophy on our 6. Mission accomplished.
Naval intelligence report a transport heading to Nawikot Bay. Since it may be a troop transport, we need to sink it before it docks. Follow up with destruction of the island port facilities. The opposition is expected to consist of an enemy fighter wing of unknown composition and patrolling Aegis warships. The Aegis missile system is highly effective. Eliminate the warships quickly.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! On our right, take off! Bogey on our tail! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target.
Caution. Caution. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Bogey on our 6.
Alert. Body damage. Alert.
Enemy
Body
target located.
damage.
Take off! Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on our right. Altitude too low. Fly! On our left. Take off! Enemy target located. Enemy in sight.
Warning.
Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on a take off.
Warning.
Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target.
Warning.
Too low. Flying.
Warning.
Bingo.
Warning.
Altitude too low.
Warning.
Flying.
Caution. Caution.
Jesus, miss. On our left. Bogey on our
Warning.
6. Bogey on our 6.
Warning.
Bogey on our 6. Westwind. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Take off. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our tail. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our right. Bingo. On our right. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Low altitude.
Altitude
Caution.
too low. Flying. Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Let's return to mission, buddy. Take off. On our right. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. No warning.
Altitude too low. Flying. Mission accomplished.
Your mercenary unit has proved its reliability. We request you aid in the extraction of one of our officers from the enemy mountain fortress. We can only send one unit without alerting the opposition. Target: cripple enemy air defense and land on their runway. Only you have the requisite skills. You will be paid handsomely.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Focus on our 6. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot down! He's wasted! I'm losing him! Let's return to mission, buddy! I'm losing him! Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot him down! Up ahead! On our left! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Bingo! Yahoo! Bingo! Yahoo! Wasted! On our right! Focus on our 6. On our left. Up ahead. Focus on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Jesus, miss. Wasted. Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! On our right! Up ahead! On our left! Up ahead! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Enemy in. Wasted. Focus on our 6. On our left. Up ahead. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Back one!
captured port has become a key resupply facility for our forces. We cannot allow the enemy to cripple or recapture it. Current intelligence suggests the enemy is preparing a bombing raid, utilizing stealth bombers. Even one can devastate the facility. Keep alert. Target, stealth bomber wing.
Ready? Break now! Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Bogey on our 6.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us.
Warning.
Missile approaching. Dive! Up ahead! Bogey on our tail! And on our right! Fire! Shoot him down! Bogey on our 6. On our right! Bogey on our 6. West wing! Bogey on our tail! Take off! Slow! Fly!
The captured port has become a key resupply facility for our forces. We cannot allow the enemy to cripple or recapture it.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down!
Alert. Body damage.
Enemy
Alert.
bogey
Body
on our 6.
damage. Alert. Body
Bogey on our
damage.
tail!
Alert. Body damage. Alert.
Bogey on our
Body
6.
damage.
Up ahead! Take off! Bogey on our tail! Fire! Shoot him down! Bingo! Yeah! Bogey is 12 o'clock! On our left! Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Bogey on our tail!
Warning. Warning.
On our bogey on our 6! On our right!
Warning.
Fire! Take off!
Warning.
Great shot! Locked on us! Missile approaching!
Caution.
Dive!
Caution.
On our left! Enemy in. Bogey on our tail! Bogey on our 6. Enemy up ahead! Bogey on our 6. On our left! On our left! Take off!
Warning.
Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Enemy target located. Up ahead! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Up, take off! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Bingo! Yeah! Bogey on our 6. Enemy target located. Take off. Mission accomplished.
The enemy is committing its huge mothership to this theater. They are growing desperate. Eliminate the mothership and their naval mobility is crippled. There are no reference points on the ocean. Pay attention to the operational map. Target mothership.
Ready? Break now! Enemy target located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6. Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy on takeoff. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Alert. Body damage.
Let's go. Yahoo!
The enemy is committing its huge mothership to this theater.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6. Altitude too low. Flying. On our left. Take off. Enemy locked on target.
Halted.
Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Enemy up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Take off. On our left. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
Halted.
On our left. Take off. Enemy targets located. Up ahead. Enemy locked on our right. Bogey on our 6.
Halted.
Take off. Enemy targets located. Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Take altitude too low. Flying.
Halted.
On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. And altitude too low. Flying.
Halted.
Bogey on our tail. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. West Ridge on our right. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked up. Take off.
Halted.
Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Altitude too low. Flying. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on. Altitude too low. Flying. On our right. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Enemy in. Up ahead. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Great shot. Bogey on our tail. Mission accomplished.
Despite the elimination of all fuel refineries, the enemy continues to conduct operations. You are assigned to recon for undetected fuel supplies. Even though this is just recon, engage and eliminate any opposition patrols. Good hunting.
Ready? Break. Enemy targets located. Enemy closely on our 6. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Low altitude.
Take off. Enemy in sight. On our right. Enemy in. Closely on our tail. Closely on our 6. Up ahead. Take off.
Caution.
Pull out of it.
Engine stall.
Closely on our 6. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Stay with him. Don't break the shot. Stay with him. Here. Toast. Fire. Shoot it down. Closely on our 6. Stay with him. Closely on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Take off. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Closely on our 6. Enemy in. On our right. Up ahead. Closely on our 6. Up ahead. Stay with him. Don't let him get away. Stay with him. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Stay with Jesus, miss. Closely on our 6. Fire, shoot it down. Stay with him. Don't let him get away. Stay with him. Back run. Closely on our 6. Closely on our tail. Take off. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him up ahead! On our right. Up ahead. Fire! Shoot it down. On our right. Closely on our 6. On our right. Altitude too low. Climb. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Don't let him get away. Tag one. Mission accomplished.
Our recon work has identified the last fuel depot. Go and bomb it flat. Target: a group of fuel production bases. The enemy is using its top guns in this theater. Keep focused and good hunting.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Bingo! Yeah! Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution.
Bingo!
Low altitude.
Altitude too low. Flying!
Low altitude.
Enemy locked on target.
Caution. Low altitude.
Altitude too low.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution. Low altitude.
Up ahead! On our right! Bogey on our tail! On our left! Enemy locked on target! On our right! Altitude too low! Flying!
Caution.
Enemy locked on target! Bingo! Yeah!
Caution.
Too low! Flying! Bogey on our tail! Enemy target located! Take off! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our six. Stay with us. Take off! Oh! Bogey on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus! Miss! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy in sight. Jesus! Miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Back one! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Up ahead! I'm losing him! Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying!
Alert. Body damage.
Bogey on our six.
Alert. Body damage.
Jesus! Miss!
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy on our left. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Low altitude.
Bogey on our 6. On our left. Enemy bogey on our 6. On our left. Take off. Up ahead. On our left. And bogey at 12 o'clock. Altitude too low. Flying. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Jesus, miss. Enemy bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our 6. Stay with him. He, take off. On our enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Take off. Enemy locked on. Too low. Flying. Missile approaching. Dive. Dive. Bogey on our tail. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Altitude too low. Flying. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Take off. On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Mission accomplished.
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress. The base itself is a hard nut to crack, but we will isolate it by eliminating its bridge and central runway. Target: Red Suspension Bridge to the island and its Air Force base. There will be plenty of ACAC and SAM defenses around the runway. Go in for one pass, then break off operations.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy targets located. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy locked on target. Bingo!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Altitude too low. Flying.
Halted. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress. The base itself is a hard nut to crack.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located. On our altitude too low. Flying! Take off! Up ahead! Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy in sight.
Halted. Halted.
Altitude too low. Flying!
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress. The base itself is a hard nut to crack, but we will isolate.
Ready? Break now! targets located. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Take off. Enemy targets located. On our left. Enemy bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Take off. Enemy in sight.
Alert, body damage. 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 Caution.
Altitude too low. Climb.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Bingo!
Alert, body damage.
Enemy
Alert,
targets
body
located.
damage.
On
Alert,
our left.
body damage.
I'm hit! I'm hit! On our left. Bogey on our 6. Altitude too low. Climb.
Caution.
Take off. Enemy targets located. Up ahead. Enemy on our left.
Caution.
Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Altitude too low.
Alert,
Climb.
body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
On our
damage.
right.
Alert,
Bogey on our
body
6.
damage. Alert, body damage.
On our left. Enemy in. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Altitude too low. Climb.
Caution.
Quick shot. Take. Mission accomplished.
The enemy is on his last legs. One more strike should lay him out. Take your unit through the ravine to the enemy headquarters. Intelligence is sketchy on force composition near the headquarters, so keep on your toes. Fly low on your way in. Everything above the ravine is a SAM kill zone.
Ready? Break now. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Bad one. ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Blew him away! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Toast! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Wasted! Up ahead! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Wasted! Mission accomplished.
Urgent message. Enemy giant airborne fortress discovered. This may be your final task. Eliminate it before it reaches our airspace. Good luck. Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Break on our right! Bogey on our tail! Enemy targets located. On our right! Enemy in sight. On our right!
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our tail! Great shot! Bogey on our 6. Jesus, miss!
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Take off! Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy
Caution.
targets located. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Bogey on our 6. Enemy in... Take off! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Bingo! Enemy target located.
Warning.
Lost missile
Caution.
approaching. Dive! Dive! On our left!
Warning. Warning. Warning.
Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Locked
Caution.
on target. On our right! Bogey on our 6.
Warning. Caution.
Take off! Up ahead! Fire!
Alert
Bogey on our
body
6.
damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage.
Take off!
Alert body damage.
Enemy locked on target.
Alert body damage.
Great shot!
Caution.
Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Take off!
Caution.
Enemy locked on. Enemy target located.
Caution.
Great shot!
Urgent message. Enemy giant airborne fortress discovered. This may be your final task. Eliminate.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Break on our right! Bogey on our tail! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Pull out of it.
Engine stalled.
Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked up. Take off. Bingo! Yahoo! On our left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy target located.
Warning.
Locked up. Missile approaching. Dive!
Caution.
Dive!
Caution.
Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Stay with him. Jesus, miss! Flex returns and misses, buddy.
Caution.
Pull out of it. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Enemy in sight.
Caution.
Locked on target.
Caution.
Great shot!
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
Caution.
Great shot! Enemy locked on
Alert
target.
body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6.
Caution,
Bogey on our 6.
caution, caution.
Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Enemy target located. Bogey on our tail! On our left! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy locked on target.
Caution,
Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Bingo! Yahoo! On our left.
caution,
Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Take off!
caution,
Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
caution,
Take off! Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
caution,
Take off! Jesus, miss!
caution, caution, caution.
Enemy target located. On our bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Take off!
Caution,
Enemy locked on target. Quick shot!
caution,
Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
caution,
Take off!
caution,
Jesus, miss!
caution, caution, caution.
Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Take off!
Caution,
Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo!
caution,
Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked. Take off!
caution,
Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy target located. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Bogey on our 6.
caution,
Bogey on our
caution,
tail. Enemy target located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our left. Enemy in sight.
caution,
Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
caution,
Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Take off!
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Woohoo! Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Bogey on our 6. Take off!
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Woohoo! Bogey on our 6. Enemy target.
Caution.
Pull out of it! Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Take off!
Congratulations. The enemy has capitulated and the coup has failed. The rightful government has been restored to this peaceful country. Your skill as Top Guns changed the balance. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you.